Hi, folks. Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Hey, coming here with another broadcast of the Chris Voss Show. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube. Be sure to hit that bell notification button so you can get all the notifications of the ChrisVossShow.com. Be sure to go to patreon.com/Chris Voss so you can contribute to the show and also join our private Facebook groups where we have exclusive giveaways that we give away to all of our audience. So what I have is a great guest here today, once again, on the Chris Voss Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play as well. Irena Cronin, how you doing? Did I pronounce your last name correctly?
Irena, yep.
Irena Cronin?
Correct.
And Irena, what's your job title? What do you do and how do you do it?
All right, so I'm president and CEO of Spout Reality.
Okay.
And basically, it's a consulting firm that does strategic finance and marketing for both virtual reality and augmented reality companies, and also Fortune 500 and blue chip companies that want to enter the space. Awesome.
Now, AR and I think VR got a big boost with the new release of the Apple iPhone X and the new iOS 11 that's coming out. How do you feel about that?
Well, I wasn't that impressed with the presentation that was put on by Apple, and I think a lot of people feel the same. However, I'm extremely impressed with what I think AR will be like going into the future. I mean, there's going to be a lot of development work that is going to continue. It's going to get better and better, and the uses for AR are tremendous. So I'm very positive about that.
Yeah, there's so much stuff. In fact, we had a guest on yesterday from the company 8ninths.com.
Yeah, right.
And he was talking about how excited he was about the SDK kit from Apple, where they can now build stuff and they're packaging different apps and stuff to go with it. So tell us what you think about what's going on in the industry and where it's headed.
Wow, that's a really large question. Okay, so I'll give you a little background about how I started this. Okay, so back in December 2015, I started a Facebook group called Virtual Reality. And I mean, just to let you know, getting the names for the groups is usually really hard if it's something that's popular. Well, I was able to get the name Virtual Reality. So that just shows you like what the status of the industry was at that point. And it steadily built. It's about 10,000 members right now. It's a closed group. And I'm really careful about what I put in there. So the reason I'm starting out with that is because what I wanted to talk about a little bit more was how social media actually is affecting virtual reality and augmented reality in the industries. Okay, so I do think that virtual reality has a large future going forward. A lot of the news that's been out there, the media, has been pretty much putting it down over the last few months, saying that it's going through a bad patch and God knows where it's going to end up. But I can tell you that I know I have a lot of insider knowledge, which I can't share, obviously, from the companies that I work with. I'm currently the editorial director of VR Society. One of Hollywood studios and other also tech companies. So I know exactly what the status of VR is right now in terms of what's in the pipeline for projects and also the tech that's going forward. So I know that that is a very viable industry. And once the Microsoft headsets come out in October and going into the Christmas season, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. Okay. Yeah, AR has an even larger future because of the use cases that go beyond VR. If you start with mobile, you know, all kinds of useful things you could do with your phone with AR overlaid on top of that, with SLAM technology, anything that you could do with location-based stuff, any practical use for the consumer. But also it goes into the business-to-business area where there are uses for that as well. And then it goes into entertainment and just very wide across the board. So I'm extremely bullish on both the areas.
Wow. There's a lot of talk about it, books and stuff that have been coming out. My good friend Robert Scoble talks about it a lot. VAR and AR, the stuff you can do with marketing, with gaming, is just incredible. And I think once the pricing of the headsets comes down, and I think Apple's going to release, bring AR into the forefront with the release of their iOS 11 and make it, more commonplace, more adaptable, and more use case for people.
Yep, absolutely. And it's not only AR Kit, it's AR Core with Google. So you have a full range of mobile capability, and you've got thousands of developers starting to work on stuff for both those areas. So
I've heard people say, the Pixel, the Google Pixel, might be the real accelerant when it comes to it. Some people were disappointed in the Apple iPhone announcement. They didn't think they went far enough, and the Pixel or Pixel 2 might be the better phone.
Well, I love the Pixel. I have a Pixel, and I have also an early prototype of it that I'm still using. But let's see what happens. I know with the Apple announcement that Apple actually had a bunch of AR presentations that they were ready to show. They were not good enough. So they had to put them to the side in the last minute.
Wow.
I believe that presentation was very rushed. They felt the need to do it at the anniversary time exactly. They promised they would do it. And this is also a problem. I think probably Apple has something coming out that will be better. It's just an iterative kind of thing. It's just at this moment, it's not the biggest bang that everybody thought, but everything's gonna come together. I think within a year. You've got Magic Leap now looking for another $500 million.
It's go through a lot of money.
Hey, something's got to come out of it, right? Hopefully, right?
I hope so. That's the big that's the big argument. Some people are like, well, we don't know if there's anything good coming out of it, or then there's something good coming out. I hear both sides of it. They're going through a lot of money, though. I mean, how much money have they raised so far?
Oh, it's over $1 billion. Now, the thing is, okay, so
what's the burn rate?
They think the price point now is going to be $1,500 to $2,000 for a headset. I think in order for them to be, and they want it to be consumer, marketed to the consumer, unlike other AR headsets currently. So if they want to get the consumer, the price is probably going to become even lower than that, and the possibility of that being a win is actually really good. But let's see. It's just a time game, You have HoloLens, which has been out quite a while now with developers. It's quite expensive. You have Meta headset, which is fantastic, although it's a bit heavy, and it's probably going to get lighter, much so, in the near future, and that's going to be great. And the price will probably come down to that too, but not $1,500. So there's some time and tech that needs to happen before the price level is good enough for a wider audience. And before that, we have the phones. So let's see what happens with AR.
Yeah, the phones are probably going to be the biggest delivery point because people already buy the phones anyway, so they have them. But yeah, that's the biggest conversation is what's the price point that VR headsets need to be at to really hit the scale of being adopted by consumers, like $300, $500 a pop.
Yeah.
And then them being more lightweight. Some of my friends that love VR, they can wear the VR headset for hours. Now I can game for hours on my PS4, but I can't wear those headsets for hours. I can't even stand wearing them for 15 minutes. They get sweaty, they get nasty, they just and they're heavy. I feel something is on my face, regardless of what I'm seeing. I'm wearing this headset that's pulling my head forward. And so somehow in my mind or in opinion, they need to get lighter. They need to get much lighter, like Google Glass sort of light. And somehow still be effective and still be able to cram all that technology in there. And then of course with you.
It's going to happen. I know, I can tell you right now, I can't give you names, but I know that something is being worked on that is way lighter.
Yeah.
The materials that are being used and the technology is being minimized in terms of the weight and the sizing of it.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the Microsoft headsets by themselves are even lighter. I'll tell you that if you haven't tried them yet. And they don't have that heavy set feel to them. It doesn't feel like you're anchoring towards the front. It's more like even. So I think this is also an iterative future. It is an iterative future. It's iterative in terms of the technology that's happening and is being worked on. By this time next year, in terms of pricing already, the pricing is getting way low. I know the Microsoft based headsets are somewhere in between what PlayStation offers and basically what Oculus offers, okay? They're just gonna get better and the pricing is gonna come down. Maybe the price point is $250 for consumers.
That would be good for a lot of consumers. These families, I don't know how these families cope. They've got to buy phones for each child, and then now they've got to buy a phone. And that's why I really think the phone is going to be a delivery point for really making AR happen. I know my good friend Robert was talking about how he was hoping that they would somehow bring a sort of glasses effect to the phone, through the iPhone, or maybe like separate glasses that will work with it. But yeah, I mean, I think when it really scales out to consumers and becomes something that's super popular, Pokemon Go did a great thing for AR. I mean, that really advanced AR a lot in getting people to adapt to that in their world and interact with a product that they could want. So I think that also has to happen. There has to be some sort of game or some sort of product that's just really hot that people have to have. And the price point has got to be right. And of course, the headsets have got to be much lighter and less bulky and just more comfortable to where you can wear them for hours. I mean, I really can't stand wearing one for more than 15 minutes. I don't care what the experience is. It's just, maybe I'm a big sweaty guy. I don't know. It's just, I can just still tell regardless of the reality that becomes virtual, I can still tell there's a damn thing on my face. And maybe it's some sort of issue I always had. Like I hate wearing glasses. That just annoys the crap out of me. So that might be it.
Hey, there's got to be a number of people that feel just like you do. So it's got to be right. It's got to have a form feature where most people feel comfortable with it. Yeah. And I think you're right on the money that there's still a feeling of some kind of alien kind of thing about it. Okay. Yeah. And a comfort level thing, but it is definitely being worked on. It's just,
I'm sure it will come just like everything else electronics, just a matter of 1 year, 2 years, 3 years and stuff. Magic Leap is pretty interesting. I mean, I hope whatever they're coming out with is going to be huge. I imagine, I don't know, maybe they're targeting marketing for brands.
Yes. There's a lot of that. Yeah.
Cool. I know the 8 Night guys were talking about how, they're trying to target marketing for brands and working with brands to be able to do advertising. And I guess we're going to see a lot of AR type advertising where you can see AR and advertising played into that.
Yeah, that's part of the location-based SLAM technology, where if you pass by, some kind of business, you've indicated that you've opted into receiving advertising of this type, and you've indicated a preference of what kind of business you like, that you will be able to probably get some kind of an AR pop-up that shows, hey, this business is here, and here's a coupon, like that kind of thing. That's like the easiest thing in the world. That
pops up on your screen.
Right, exactly. No, it pops up not on it. As you're looking at it, it'll look like it's in front of you or on the side. It gives you an arrow or something as to where it's located. And I mean, it's like, it's a no-brainer that something like this would happen. And you know what? People might think, hey, this is obtrusive. I don't like advertising. But if you opt into it and you indicate that you like it, it's a benefit. It's something that you've done before.
Yeah, most people like a deal, and the people I know that are coupon, I know some people that are just rabid coupon cutters. They pay 50% off to 30% off, whatever. Hey, there's a deal before me, and they go and grab it. So a lot of impulse buying maybe and things of that nature. But yeah, it would be, it'd be interesting. I just thought of something that would be kind of cool. There's a favorite restaurant I just go into, and I'm always like, what does that menu look like? Because when you look at their menu, they don't have pictures. It'd be great if you could have like a virtual reality or an AR reality where you could look at their menu at their food as opposed to text that they put on their menu.
That's cool. Yeah, I could. There's all kinds. The visual imagery that you could like build off of with AR is just amazing for objects, and
scroll through all the food on their menu and see it, because that's what fast food is brilliant about. They put the pictures on the menu when you order, and you can see the burger, and that enticement really sells you. But there's a lot of restaurants that I go into that there's no visual thing, and you're just ordering the steak, and it's just it's whatever. And looking at what the production is, especially when you look at like chefs who put in this beautiful, what do they call it, plating?
Yeah.
Where, there's an art to it. In how it's presented, a lot of that is lost in a lot of those textual menus. So I can see that.
There is. I want to give you another example where text and data is not good enough and could be greatly improved by something that AR offers. So you mentioned 8/9, right? So over a year and a half ago, they worked with Citigroup or Citicorp, right, to present a mock-up of a HoloLens type thing that could be used for traders. Okay, so it's definitely a mock-up. There was no code involved, but it was a very beautiful, practical, useful kind of presentation that they delivered to them, where the trader is sitting at the desk, and there's a video of this that you can find on YouTube as well. Of course, the trader is wearing the HoloLens, and in front of them they could see the stocks that they're dealing with, and there are bubbles. They're like little circles. And then there's all kinds of other information to the side. So it almost looks like an organ. It's got like a bunch of information in different types of shapes and things like that, and colors. And if you grab onto it, you'll be able to get the information for it. And so this concept idea, a lot of people have been looking at it and saying that this is fantastic. So it's not only traders, there's certain types of trading that's done, like futures trading, when a rollover is done. All of that now is done by data and charting and text. So it's incredibly, that decision that needs to be made really quickly is a very slow process. If you do something with a HoloLens and you do that kind of information, you could just pull out the information and have like a 3D chart or something like that. And you have a point where you decide you pick the trade depending on the particular qualifications you put in. So this is just a really very particular kind of example that I'm telling you, but there's all kinds of things like this where there's just too much information. It's done in a 2D way fashion. You're using a lot of human brain power to figure it out. Why not use computing power to put it all together and then visualize it and get some information? So this goes for branding, marketing, finance, making cars, all kinds of manufacturing, just across the board. So anyway, that's why I'm really positive about this.
Yeah, when we talked about this yesterday, we talked a lot about training, meetings, being able to have meetings, trainings, webinars could be VR, of course. There's a whole lot of applications where you can train people, especially in customer service situations where they're going to be in front of a customer, and being able to create a VR experience where they can prepare and practice to be in front of a customer and what they need to say and do. I remember training salesmen years ago, and they would be on the phone, with the customer for the first time, and they'd be like, what do I say now? Oh, how do he say ask this? And being able to have a situation where you could preset that up and run it through VR, and it would feel real to them, and they could learn in that sort of time without being in front of a customer and burning maybe a customer. That would be ideal. So I see a lot of applications for it moving forward.
I have a question for you, because I do a lot of social media. Right? You too. It's not that it started with VR, and definitely not AR, but I see VR and AR being very much an animal of sentiment that is passed through social media. And what I mean by that is, Facebook now has become a central place for news. All right. Most people are not watching news anymore, that's for sure, right? They're not reading newspapers. They're not reading the New York Times on the web either. They go to Twitter, and they're Facebook people that actually read the news. Most of my information that I get, I have an algorithm that I put together, and I draw from a bunch of websites to get my news. But I also find a bunch of it on Facebook as well. So what I'm finding is, in terms of marketing and branding of VR and AR, and how people understand the technology, it's brought to you by social media, right? So, and also opinion making. So, I'm a good friend of Scoville's also. And I just know that when he says something, people listen, right? So, and there are other people too, and there are other articles that are out there that are placed on Facebook, and people react to them, and there's a lot of opinion out there that's then taken as the way that it is. And it's built up like that. Months and months and months of building up of articles, opinions, and then, trading of news and that kind of thing between people. And I'm just wondering where it's going to go, how it seems to me that it's incredibly important these days how technologies are made and how they are marketed, and actually what's being made has a lot to do with what people are directly telling the companies that they want. And this is brought directly to them by what's said on social media.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's no longer the days where you have tech people who have their own ideas and then say, oh, this is a great product, I think I'm going to make it, and it's like a bubble. And they make it and then no one comes, which has happened quite a bit. It's now, it seems to me that there's an integration of understanding of what people are saying online, how people feel about things. Like even what we're doing right now, this is going to go on social media, and you talked about how you feel uncomfortable about the headset. This is taken really seriously,
Yeah, that's the reason I do bring it up too, is I want to telegraph to those people, or signal to them that, hey, it's a great technology, but I as a consumer, I need something I can wear for hours.
Right. And there's not enough companies out there that are actually doing this kind of consumer research. In fact, very, very few of them have. So there's no direct kind of understanding between the consumer and the billions of dollars that have been put into these technologies. So they are going off a lot by opinion that they could get for free on social media.
So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Anything that you see that sticks out now that you think is exciting, that maybe they're working on, or that you can share with us, or any sort of cool stuff that you've maybe seen, or can give us some kind of juicy details on what's coming, maybe? I don't know.
Okay. All right. So I'm a big believer in location-based VR. About 6 months ago, I went and visited the Void in Utah.
Oh, the Void. Yeah, I've heard about that. That's really cool.
Yeah. It was fantastic. And
let's tell our viewers what the Void is who don't know.
Okay. So it's not only Utah. There's a couple of other places now. It's basically a place where you go that's usually over 2,000 square feet, where you don a headset that is a custom-made one. The Void spent a number of years technology-wise to build their headset. Also, they have a custom backpack that is a computer. Even though they have beacons, they have to rely on the computer because of the frame rate right now. It's not high enough, but it's excellent with the lightweight backpack. And you basically go through a game-like, it's not a game, but it's a game-like experience with a number of people, currently up to 6 at the Void. And you experience things together. Now, the experience that I went through was about 10 minutes. I can tell you right now, can't give you all the details, but they're working on experiences that run up to 40 minutes right now.
Wow. And what are some of the things that go on in the experience?
Oh, okay. Well, you could pick stuff up. You could zap stuff away. You can talk directly to the people that you're in the game with, and they hear you and they talk back to you.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's nice. They're working on AI stuff where there'll be characters that will be able to talk to you and give you different kinds of answers dependent on what you say directly to them, so there's no script. And everyone will be able to see this character, and that character will be able to talk to all the people in your group in that way. So I just told you 40 minutes. Probably the next year it's going to be longer than that. It's a cinematic kind of. It feels like a movie, but you're in the movie. It's more cinematic than the VR video. Obviously, VR video is only 360, but even the immersive video that you see out there that has some kind of interactivity, this is truly interactive.
Do you see Hollywood going full VR, where in the future we won't go see 2D screens or 3D screens? I guess they have now as well. We'll just go to virtual reality theaters, or maybe we'll pay for a movie to be delivered to our headset, through Netflix or whatever, and we'll watch Godfather 2 in a 3D experience, if you will.
Yeah. I don't know if you hear the blower here. I hope it goes away now. Okay. So I envision a day, yes, that this will happen. I think that probably the studios see this too. It's just a matter of time. Like one studio will say to you, oh yeah, probably 5 years. And I will go, oh, no, we're going to stick it out as long as 10 years because we want to keep the run with the 2D stuff, right? But again, it's what the public wants. So if the public is looking for immersive experiences, and I'll give you some information that I know that they are, and that's where the money is. The studios are going to do the stuff where the money is. They're going to create and produce experiences that they know will make money. And no one will be sad about it. Everyone will be happy because it's going the direction where the money is, okay? And also, not only money, but imagination, excitement, and entertainment, okay?
Hollywood is the vehicle that can really deliver those elements that you just listed. I mean, they definitely have, between them and gaming, they definitely have the ability to take and deliver, stories and things that people can really get immersed in. I mean, that's why you go to a movie, is to escape and get lost in stories and elements and imagination, fantasy, and virtual reality, if you will, a different reality than what you're going through. And so I think they would be a huge thing. It may disrupt their model of going to the theater, which they may not want to eat their own lunch, but they may have to eventually when it comes down to it. And
that's right. Yeah, it's a matter of time. It's a matter of understanding and trying to pull out as much from the existing model that they could, and then to really get a better picture of where it can go forward. I have to say, currently, next year is going to be a different story. Currently, creating immersive experiences is incredibly expensive. If you want to do a minute of really good immersion, it'll cost you anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million for 1 minute.
Wow.
That is why, okay, there is tech being developed now in terms of shrinking down that cost. That is going to be significantly different in the upcoming year. And I mean by significant, I mean by bounds. So, where you would have something cost like $5,000, that was like a consumer piece at one point, and it is now like $500 or something like that. That's what we're talking about, those kind of levels, 500 and under even. So it would have to be, it's a little bit of a waiting game.
Mm-hmm.
There are some things being created now, I can tell you that are of short features that are much more immersive, that are going to be like a forefront, a showing of what the future is going to be like, basically. But it has to wait until the price comes down, probably a year from now, where longer features can get made, to be able to recoup the money. So it's not just a marketing thing. Mm-hmm. And it's not just a kind of we are the company of the future kind of thing. It's money has to be made. There's no doubt about it. They're businesses.
Yeah, and Hollywood may be the best vehicle to deliver some of that initially, because they can sell a movie and make billions. And if they could figure out a way to get that delivery right, whether it's in your home and you buy the movie and it comes through, it would be interesting too, because it would upend a lot of other industries. It would upend theaters, and I think if Warner Brothers went directly to consumers and skipped over people that are reselling their videos like Walmart or who are sitting other people like Netflix and everything else, I mean, that would be an interesting disruption. I don't know if they'd want to enter those industries, but that would be a huge disruption of going direct to consumer as opposed to having all these jump and hoop middlemen that you have to go through.
I agree, and I really can't talk directly to what Warner Brothers is doing, but there's been a lot of discussion among several major players as to what the distribution model should actually be going forward, and be able to work on it together, not each one doing their own thing, because that's not the best way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, I know that a lot of people aren't going to theaters. I mean, anytime I go to a theater for a movie, I don't go to premieres, of course, but anytime I go to a theater, it's just I'm one of the few people sitting in it. And
it's true when I do that. Yeah,
I can imagine theaters would want to spend the money to buy, I don't know, several hundred, $1,500, $1,000, $500 headsets. And then do you really want to wear someone else's headset? I mean, it's bad enough you have to deal with a sticky floor in a theater and seats that sometimes you're just kind of wondering who sat in them. But I don't know that I want to wear someone else's headset. So that's an application they'd have to look at, because, I mean, it's kind of like when someone says, here, wear my glasses or something. You're like, they're kind of greasy and they've got your body oil on them. I don't want to wear your glasses, or, you know what I mean?
It'll sometime in the future, it'll be each one brings their own stuff, whether it's a headset or glasses or whatever. It's like, it's mine.
Maybe that's a feature where you bring your own glasses, you plug into the theater's thing that they have there, and you jack in and watch your movie and eat your popcorn and make out with your girlfriend and then go home. Which is kind of interesting, because I think that's half the reason people do go to movies is for dates. So I don't know how you can make out with a VR headset.
I don't know. Facebook has that virtually dating show. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh my
It's a virtual dating show.
It's really, yeah.
Virtual dating with Tinder with VR.
Oh my! It's actually very
You just
funny.
turn your head left or right when you want to swipe. Is that?
No, it's a full body thing. They actually scan your body. So
Oh.
they have people moving and stuff. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, the reason they did it now is because it's currently comical because the technology isn't all there yet. And there's a lot of jarring, and people can laugh about it as they're going through their date, basically. But it's fun, and I in the future, I mean, I can envision people meeting that way, right? Right. I mean, instead of having a photograph that you're looking at.
Click this box if you'd like to see a topless picture of this person. Click this box.
No. No.
And then you get a whole virtual 3D.
Yeah. Maybe there will probably be a site that is like that. But I mean, for the mainstream, just even like teenagers getting to know each other, it'll be like so much easier and more creative. I mean, that's the thing. You might
be safer too. If I had children, I'd certainly want them. There's that moment they all play doctor in the "show me yours, I'll show you mine" thing when you're like 8 or 10 or something like that. And it's fairly innocent, but it might be more safer if it was in a VR environment than people standing next to each other. I don't even know if kids do that anymore.
Yes, they're not doing it on their phones, which is good. And the ones that are, it's not good.
I know there's a lot of that going on in Snapchat, but I don't know how that's going into the future. But I know there was a lot of that show me yours, I'll show you mine on Snapchat going on. And for a while there, it had the reputation of being, that's pretty much what you're on Snapchat for.
Yeah, but I mean, people get tired, people get tired of it, and then it turns into something that is more useful and like, Snapchat is trying a bunch of things now, and I hope it succeeds. I mean, there are a lot of issues with it. There's a lot of competition, but in terms of creativity, I really hope that it succeeds because it's been bringing out a bunch of stuff that no one has before, and it's being copycatted. So even, let the innovation, continue. What I wanted to mention to you, because you've been talking about VR and entertainment. Now, everyone's been talking about AR for extremely useful and practical things, which is an obvious thing, right? Especially if it's on mobile, what we said with the SLAM technology. But people, and beyond that, people are working on it for games, right? Because that's like an obvious no-brainer. Why not play a game where you have your phone in front of you? But I do know of a couple of companies that are starting to work on it for entertainment as well. So storytelling.
Yeah.
So I can't go into exactly who is doing that. I mean, I can tell you that Within has a piece that a test piece called Goldilocks, which they've shown. And then Wingnut from Australia, Peter Jackson's company, it's like a game, but it's more like an experience where it's a tabletop experience and there's like a war going on and you have your little people running around. And that's a test, and they're working on a fuller version of that. So these are kinds of like, I wouldn't call this like gamified, immersive kind of experience versus just a game. Mm-hmm. So that has a narrative and a story and doesn't have points. So it's not like you rack up points doing this thing, okay? So a number of companies are actually working on stuff like this now.
Awesome.
And it's fresh. Yeah.
The coolest thing I saw so far on VR was Facebook Spaces. And Jesse today and Robert called me one day, and I could see the two of them interacting. And what was really cool was I didn't have VR, but I could still interact with them on the phone. And right. And so it wasn't just an exclusive VR experience. It extended to me in my environment through my phone. But it was cool watching them pick stuff up. And then I've seen Robert, of course, present to audiences in a VR situation. I believe him and Shell did it. on the launch of their book. They had like a little launch party that was completely VR.
Yep.
And that would be interesting. We share a lot on social media. You brought that up about social media and its effect on VR and AR. It'd be one thing, I take pictures and I film my dogs, and a lot of people love that.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm pretty sure they like the dogs more than they like me. And I can't blame them. And so it would be great, instead of me just doing a video dog or filming a dog, if you could come into my living room here and in a 3D experience and like go pet Freya. Freya would run by you, maybe, I don't know. And you could be in the room with us and experience, say, Freya in real time or something. But instead of me showing you pictures of my vacation or my life, I could come stand with you in your life. Right. For some people, that might not be. I don't want you in my kitchen, damn it. Get out of my fridge. But there's probably a lot of different applications for that in sharing a social media world and stuff. I know that I recently, and this has nothing to do with VR really, but I think it's kind of what's coming and what's out there. We have this Pet Cube device, Pet Cube Bites.
I saw it. Yeah.
Freya's got her own social media, Facebook Pet Cube account. Yeah. She has followers. She has people who like her stuff. She posts. But people can dial in and feed her and interact with her. They can talk with her. Yeah. Since we've gotten that darn thing installed, that thing is just constantly on. I swear to God, there's people that are the same people every day logging in to talk to Freya and feed her treats. Adorable. Yeah. And she's just gaining that following. She might be more popular than me someday. She probably already is. And I could see a VR experience where people would want to come pet her, interact with her. I know of a few people that are really popular on YouTube with their huskies, like Gohan the Husky, and then there was Talking Husky folks. Yeah. And they have just huge fan bases of millions of people. And I'm sure that there are people that would love to go take and virtually pet those dogs, interact with them, throw them a bone, throw a treat, things of that nature. And I could see socially sharing realities where we don't have to feel like we're on the other side of stuff. One of the things I mentioned to the 8th Ninth CEO is I spent a lot of hours gaming with my nephew and my brother, and it's brought our family closer together. Because you just spend hours together online, and we're on party chat headsets. But if we could sit in a virtual experience where we're on the same couch, in the same virtual room, playing our favorite game together, and I can turn and I can see them, even though it may not really be them, but even seeing the Facebook Spaces people, it just made it more real. And more, the fidelity of it. Yeah, and more connecting emotionally, more connecting in seeing them as beings. Because when you see somebody as a being, it changes the dimension, I think, in the emotion, the senses of it too. Yeah. The recognition. Yeah. Well, I have to say that it is an extremely human feature that we want to interact, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just built into us. And a lot of why people are attracted to both VR and AR is this kind of interactive capability where you're able to touch, haptics aren't there yet, but they will be in the future. But at least there's some kind of an idea that you can pick something up, perhaps, that you are able to change the next scene by something that you touch. So that kind of game experience that is an interactive experience. If the interactivity wasn't there, I think the core feature, the core reason why people would want VR and AR are gone. Okay, so you need that interactivity. And I'll tell you, there was a research piece that was done recently. I had mentioned that there were very few consumer research studies done. I can count them on my finger. One of them where I was present, that was done about 2 months ago, where there were about a dozen people interviewed one by one. They're brought in to see experiences that ranged from no interactivity, so basically 360 video, up
to a much higher interactive capability, not a game, but almost game-like interactive experience. And we showed them that full range, all of them. People ranged from, like 17 years old to over 60. From people who basically had just seen a few 360 videos to some people that were gamers. Okay, so wide range of people, both men and women. One woman had, 6 children, so she was able to talk about how she would feel about giving them, VR to play with and that kind of thing. Extremely useful. Yeah. What we found out during the study was that those people across the board, whether or not they even had played any kind of VR, done any VR, or even really knew too much about 360, the minute they got into the first piece that wasn't interactive, they were like, I don't like this. I can't do anything with it. I want to interact with it. Why am I able to interact with it? Right? And then it crossed the board up to the point even, and I won't tell you the names of the pieces, but there's some award-winning pieces that we showed, and they were like, I don't like this because I can't do enough here. I want, because I have this headset on, they're like, I have the headset on, so I should be able to do something. I shouldn't be able to just look or just do one thing. I should be able to do several different types of things. And then when they got to the more interactive, the most interactive piece, they loved it. They absolutely loved it. So, I had that guess that would be the case to begin with, but it's now kind of like, has like some kind of backing to it, that this is what people really want. But do keep in mind what I said about how much it costs to make an interactive piece. So we do know where the money is, what consumers really want is the interactivity, the immersiveness, the feeling of being able to change their world around them, or to affect their world, basically. However, the high level of interactivity comes with a very high price tag. So then is it really worth it to make something that is medium interactive? Like, will that sell? So these are the issues now that are confronting the industry. How do we know that this thing that we're going to make, if we cut off that level of interactivity to a certain extent, will this actually sell at all? Do we have to spike? Do we have to put in a bunch more money? But then we're pretty sure that it will sell, or we're going to recoup, the money that we put in. So these are serious issues for business issues that are confronting the producers of VR. Yeah.
I know Sidekick was a business. I think it was Sidekick a long time ago. They had a thing where they made it so that your phone would ping through beacons, like in Best Buy in different stores, and you would get like, oh, you're in the phone section of Best Buy, and there's some coupons here, some discounts here.
Right. I remember that with the beacons. Yeah.
Yeah, it was actually an idea I had a year or two earlier than that, and I shopped it around to a couple of investors, and I wasn't in the tech field like I was now.
Yeah.
I didn't really have any idea how to build it. But yeah, I'd given it to a few different friends of mine who were busy with their startups, and they're like, we don't have time for that. But then Shopkeep went and did it. And AR could be another way where you could go into the store, and as you're walking down the aisle, nowadays they have so much stuff in the store. They have these things that stick out and talk to you off the shelf. They have mats on the floor for stuff that they're running specials on. But yeah, I mean, people are always holding their phone in their hand. They're always walking around like this and having an AR pop-up that says, you're standing by our pineapple cans, and our pineapple cans today are 50 cents off. I can see a lot of coupon people just wandering through the store.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Safety issues. You might have to create lanes that you walk in. These are the walking lanes. These
Pay
are the
attention.
lanes. These are the come the other way lanes. One-way shopping aisles. So people are But definitely some good stuff there for me as a consumer. In fact, because I'm partially vegan and I try and stay away from the sugary bad stuff as much as I possibly can. There are aisles in the store I don't go down. I don't go down the chip aisle. I don't go down the pop aisle. Certainly don't go down the candy aisle. Don't go down that aisle. And I've learned that there are certain aisles I don't go down because if you go down them, it's just danger zone. Danger.
Yeah.
And danger, Will Robinson. And so I don't go down those aisles. But every now and then I'll go to a store where something on those aisles is something that I would like to have. It's not the bad stuff. It's just for some reason they put it on that aisle.
Yeah.
Hey, where's XYZ? And they're like, oh, that's on the, you put it in with the pop and the chips. What? And even then, there's sometimes where I get a hankering for being naughty on the diet and stuff. And so if something popped up and said, hey, down this aisle is this, and I was like, maybe I'll go for that. So yeah, I can see a lot of applications for it when it comes to shopping.
Yeah. And I mean, this is an interactive feature.
Yeah.
So anything that is interactive through VR and AR there could be great uses there.
Yeah. And Amazon, of course, which is a huge buying resource, is still that two-dimensional sort of thing. I mean, you can kind of pictures. What's funny is a lot of people watch the review videos on the Chris Voss Show on YouTube because they want to see, it's not 3D, but they want to see the product unboxed. They want to see, they want to see me turn the product, show them different angles of the product in a live setting, and also while giving my opinion, which is important. But they also like to see, like I had people say, and I said this first when I first heard about unboxings, I'm like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But people actually want to see what they're going to get. They want to know what that experience is of unboxing. Are they going to unbox something and be totally deceived by advertising, which they certainly have? And it turns out this is, it looks really great on the Photoshop pictures on the internet of Amazon, and then they open up the box, it's just cheap garbage from China. So the other thing is people want a lot of validation, or people will watch my review videos because they want to learn how the product works. And so they're either watching it to validate that they made a right choice, and it's a good product, and maybe they're having a little buyer's remorse, and that seems to help clinch them at liking the product or hating the product, for that matter. I've seen both in comments. But having something on Amazon, where you could go on Amazon and you could shop the product you're looking for, you could pick it up, you could turn it around, you could have the experience. I could open up the battery case and see how that works. It wouldn't be a full tactile solution because you can look at something that's built plastic, and sometimes it feels really cheap, and then sometimes, depending on the quality, it feels like it has some quality to it.
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be able to kind of get that feel, but you kind of get an idea when you look at how things are built and the detail that goes into them.
Yes.
And that can give some of that away. But yeah, being able to go on Amazon and take a product and spin it around. I know I've been frustrated when I've seen products on Amazon that I'm looking at, I'm shopping for the right fit for a product, and they don't have the three-dimensional sort of surround pictures. They've just got the one front picture, and you're like, well, I really want to know what that looks like from the back, or the top, or the side, or the bottom. Last night I was doing a Canon camera review, and so I'm spinning it around. I'm showing all the different angles, the close-ups, all the different angles that you might not think of, but if you had it in your hands, you'd be looking at it from that angle.
Yeah.
And that's what people want to see. They're like, what's around the corner in that area right there? How does that look? And how does that, people want to see all the little doors open. They want to see what. As if they would do themselves. Exactly.
Yeah.
And so VR purchasing and buying and selling would be huge, especially when it comes to consumers or brands selling their products, because people could, pick up the product and I think it would really determine sales. I mean, I would certainly buy something if I could have, and that begins their experience, I guess, when you really think about it, right? With the product.
It's definitely a good way to get them to buy something.
And that experience may be the thing that really leads to sales more than people going, well, I don't really understand your product as much. if they've sat and played with it for several minutes. The same thing is true in my review videos. It converts a lot of sales because I'll have comments that will say, I watched your video. I love this product from your review of it, not just my opinion, but from what they saw, from what their experience was. And that experience started their relationship with that product. And then boom, they're opening up their credit card and buying.
I mean, this is the thing. Okay, I can tell you for sure, and the news has been out there already. Amazon is developing a VR marketplace. Okay, definitely. AR is being worked on, but there's not enough news for me to be able to tell you, and I can't tell you anything that I know that's insider information, but you can imagine, all right? So think about it this way. People used to go to stores to buy things, right? People do still go to stores to buy things, but not as much. Why do people do that? Because that was the distribution structure originally, right? And things are warehoused that way and that kind of thing. But there was also another reason. People did, especially those that had enough money to have a choice about what kind of product they want to buy and be able to compare things. So you have to be there in person, or at least that's what it was, to be able to compare similar types of things, make a choice, right? What's going on these days, ever since, the 2000s began, where people actually started getting over their fear of buying things online. And there was a time like that before where they would not buy stuff online, right?
I remember my mom's like, don't trust the online evil empire.
They're like, I don't trust this. I don't want to put my credit card in. Someone's going to steal my information. And why would I want to buy anything online? I still remember people saying stuff like that, but that's kind of gone right now. So now that this has become memory and people don't even know about it, they've gotten used to buying stuff online, but that feature of understanding and comparing things is gone. It's very difficult to get a sense of different types of products besides looking at specs. And now we're talking about tech specs, but even like simpler things where you really want to be able to lift it up, pick it up, have a 3D image of it, and have your senses kind of make that decision, is not there anymore. So now it has to be rebuilt, and it can be rebuilt by Amazon, which is huge and has almost all the products on the planet in terms of what's being offered. So you have a global marketplace of everything that you can buy. And if they're developing that, then this is the new paradigm of going to the store and being able to do comparison shopping, because right now it's not efficient. If you've ever bought any clothes online, have you bought clothes online? I think everybody's done that.
It looks like I bought clothes online when you look at how I dress, but no, I had to go to Walmart. But to what you're saying.
Yeah, so almost all my friends, anyone I know who's bought something online, you end up sending half it back because just sizing isn't right. That's why people used to go and try stuff on. But in the future, very soon, I know there are AR apps that are being built around this, where they scan your body. Yeah. And then it could size out the dimension to actually how that piece of clothes fits and whether it would be appropriate for you to buy.
And then you've got the VR aspect where you could be wearing the clothes.
Yeah,
see
that's right.
Works with your hair, or
yes.
Your skin tones, and you can test out and wear. And you bring up a great point that I was thinking about as well. Amazon and Zappos are two big companies that have really strong return policies. If you don't like it, return it. And where they could have these virtual experiences with their stuff, like you're talking about with clothes, et cetera, that could drastically reduce their return rates, because people have that first experience with it before they buy and know that that's what they want to have. And it would be more targeted to them in the product that they want to keep and won't return. So they would probably save just a ton in returns.
Yeah. And you still have holdouts of people who will not buy things such as clothes and more personalized things because of this, because they just don't want to have to go through the hassle, even if it's a good return policy, of having to return it. So that's actually greater number of people than is acknowledged out there. It'll increase the amount of money they make.
And it's for me, it's great because I'm a guy and I have the caveman sort of hunter-gatherer hunter sort of thing, where women have the gatherer thing. And here where I live, we have Google Express, we have Walmart pickup where you can order online, and then you just go park in this stall and they bring you your groceries and you're done. You don't have to wander through the stupid store, which I hate. And what else is there? There's Prime now that we have. There's, of course, Amazon for delivery. I think Walmart does delivery now. No one uses it. Best Buy is trying to do delivery as well, do the Amazon thing. But a lot of women that I talk to, and they're gatherers. They like the experience of going and doing the gathering. And they're like, no, Chris, I really like to go to the store. I like the experience of going to the store and shopping.
Making choices.
Making sure they get the best deal and doing what they can for their family. And so being able to create a virtual store that people could go to, fill that need where women can still shop online, or whoever's doing the shopping in their household, but shop online in a virtual store. So they have that same experience of choice. Amazon kind of has that in a very lame way where you have the product there and they'll put this gross strip on the bottom of other people bought this product, or here's some similar products.
It's very 2D, and
but it's not the same as when you look at a shelf of, say, olives, a section of olives, and you're looking at the different prices and you're looking at the different selections and brands. And I could see where someone who likes the experience of going to the store and going through the shopping experience could sit in a VR atmosphere and just see the same sort of thing, choose what they want, but in the meantime, they don't have to leave their home.
Yeah. I mean, at the bottom of all of this the new visual imageries that we're coming up with VR and AR, and then whatever else is coming up in the future, we're riffing off of actual real physical objects, right? Yeah. I mean, that's what we're used to. We're used to the physical, right? Everything else then becomes more intellectual, a little more difficult to process. So anything that brings it more down to the actuality of what it is you're dealing with, and in this case, they are physical objects, will make it easier for everybody. And I think that's what people want. I think that's what human beings want. So, and even like if we're talking about entertainment, like with 2D movies, obviously we understand it's two-dimensional and our brain is able to accommodate for it being 2D, and we'll be able to use our imagination that maybe sometimes get into a movie, feel like we're emotionally involved as a result. But when something is more accurately portrayed, like it would be in VR, and then when we get haptics, it'll be even wilder, our involvement is going to be so much more natural. Yeah. We won't have to make that extra leap that we're making. And I mean, that's what this is all about. And then along the way, all the tools that we can do to make this happen, I think people really want that.
It becomes so much more real. I mean, if I could go into a scene in, say, a movie like The Piano, and you're just not looking at what the director has pointed you to, but you're like, oh, wow, okay, I'm in a room, and then it becomes just super real, where you really feel like you're in it. And to me, experiences like that are really what blow your mind, and then, of course, deepen your emotional connection to them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of great stuff here, Irena. Lots of great stuff. We'll have to have you on the show again to talk about it. But I think we got about an hour in, and people are starting to go, I got to go do something else. You know how people are with their ADD attention spans. So thank you for being on. Give us your plugs so people can find you on the internet.
Okay. So the best place to find me would be the Facebook group site that I have. That's a closed site. I have over 10,000 people in there right now. Just It's called virtual realities. That's how you can, for the HTTPS, blah, blah, Facebook virtual realities. The official name of it now is augmented and virtual reality.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now all in for AR and VR. You can also email me at Irena, IRENA, .Cronin, CRONIN, at Spout Reality, just like how it sounds, SPOUT reality.com. I look forward to hearing from you.
All right, so everyone check her out. Be sure to give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hit that bell notification. Go to patreon.com/Chris Voss. Thanks to AT&T for sharing with us the Samsung Galaxy S8 and S8 Plus, which we're TriCasting actually on. We're TriCasting to Periscope and Facebook Live, so thanks to them for supporting the show. And be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes and Google Play, which you'll see the wonderful Irena Cronin on. You'll get to hear actually on iTunes and Google Play, because it will be audio only, but you get to tune in and see all the wonderful things she's doing. All right, well, thanks for coming by, Irena, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you so much, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Bye.